Some animals disappear quietly. One day they are part of the world and the next, they exist only in photographs, museum specimens, or fatting stories. Scientists give that moment a name, extinction. But sometimes extinction is not as final as it sounds. Because every now and then, strange reports appear. A shadow crossing a remote forest, a bird call that should not exist anymore, a fisherman claiming he saw something scientists declared gone decades ago. Most of the time, those stories turn out to be mistakes, but sometimes they leave just enough doubt to keep the search alive. Today, we're exploring 7 animals that were believed to be extinct, yet many people still wonder if they might be out there somewhere, hidden in remote corners of the planet. Let's begin. Number 7, the Himalayan quail. This mysterious bird once lived in the steep grasslands of the western Himalayas in northern India. It was a small, ground-dwelling bird with dark plumage and striking white markings around its face. The last confirmed record of the Himalayan quail was in 1876. After that, it simply vanished. Hunters, habitat changes, and expanding human settlements likely pushed the species to the edge. But the mountains where it lived are vast, steep, and extremely difficult to explore. For more than a century, scientists and birdwatchers have searched those remote slopes hoping to spot the bird again. A few hikers and villagers have reported brief sightings over the years, but none have ever been confirmed. If the Himalayan quail still survives, it may be hiding in one of the most inaccessible landscapes on Earth. Number 6, the Jamaican petrel. This seabird once nested high in the mountains of Jamaica. It spent most of its life over the open ocean, returning to land only to breed. In the late 1800s, introduced predators like mongooses and rats devastated the island's wildlife. Petrel nests were easy targets. The last confirmed sighting of the Jamaican petrel happened in 1879. But the story might not end there. Some bird experts believe the species could still survive in extremely small numbers. The petrel is nocturnal, meaning it only becomes active at night. That makes it incredibly difficult to detect. Occasionally, strange bird calls have been reported in remote Jamaican mountains. Each time, scientists wonder the same thing: could the lost petrel still be there? Number 5, the beige, also known as the Yangtze River dolphin. For thousands of years, this pale blue dolphin lived in China's Yangtze River. Fishermen once called it the goddess of the Yangtze. But as China industrialized, the river changed dramatically. Heavy ship traffic, pollution, fishing nets, and massive dams transformed the dolphin's habitat. By the early 2000s, sightings had become extremely rare. In 2006, a large international search expedition spent weeks surveying the Yangtze River. They failed to find a single beige, and many scientists concluded the species was functionally extinct. Yet a few unconfirmed sightings have appeared since then. Some fishermen claim they have seen a pale-shaped surface, briefly, in quiet sections of the river. If even one beige remains, it would be one of the rarest animals on Earth. Number 4, the pink-headed duck. This bird once lived in wetlands across India, Nepal, and Bangladesh. As its name suggests, the male had a remarkable pink-colored head that made it one of the most unusual ducks in the world. By the early 20th century, wetland destruction and hunting had reduced its numbers drastically. The last widely accepted sighting occurred in 1949. Yet rumors continue to surface. Some birdwatchers believe a tiny population could still survive in remote marshes along the border of India and Myanmar, where vast wetlands remain poorly explored. For decades, expeditions have searched those regions hoping to rediscover the bird. So far, the pink-headed duck remains one of the greatest mysteries in ornithology. But the next animals on our list carry even bigger legends, creatures whose stories refuse to disappear. And the next one might be the most famous, extinct animal people still claim to see. But that's where the mystery deepens. The stories we just explored already blur the line between extinction and mystery, but the next animals take that uncertainty even further. In some cases, people claim to see them even today, and each new report raises the same question again. Did these species truly vanish, or are they simply hiding where humans rarely look? Number 3. The ivory-billed woodpecker. This bird was once one of the largest woodpeckers in North America. It lived deep inside the old-growth forests of the southeastern United States and parts of Cuba. Its striking black and white feathers and long ivory-colored bill made it unmistakable. But by the early 20th century, the forests it depended on were disappearing. Massive logging operations cleared huge areas of swamp forest, destroying the trees where the birds nested and searched for insects. By the 1940s, sightings had become extremely rare. The last widely accepted sighting occurred in 1944 in Louisiana. After that, the ivory-billed woodpecker became known as one of the most famous lost birds in the world. But then something unexpected happened. Over the years, occasional sightings began to surface. Hunters, hikers, and birdwatchers reported glimpses of a large black and white woodpecker deep inside southern swamps. In 2005, a team of researchers even claimed they had recorded brief footage of one in Arkansas. The evidence remains heavily debated, and scientists are still divided. But the possibility that a few ivory-billed woodpeckers might still survive in remote forests keeps search teams returning again and again. Number 2. The thylacine, also known as the Tasmanian tiger. At first glance, it looked like a strange mix between a wolf and a large dog, with dark stripes running across its back. But the thylacine was actually a marsupial, meaning its young developed in a pouch like kangaroos. It once lived across mainland Australia and Tasmania, but when European settlers arrived, they believed the animal was killing their livestock. So the government placed a bounty on its head. Hunters were paid to kill thylacines, and thousands were slaughtered. By the early 1900s, the species had nearly disappeared. The last known thylacine, named Benjamin, died in Hobart Zoo in 1936. Officially, that was the end of the species. Yet sightings never stopped. For decades, hikers and farmers in Tasmania have reported seeing dog-like animals with striped backs moving through forests and grasslands. Some claim to have photographed them, while others describe hearing strange calls at night. Most of these reports remain unconfirmed, but the number of sightings has been high enough that scientists and wildlife agencies still investigate them from time to time. If even a tiny population survived in Tasmania's remote wilderness, it would be one of the greatest rediscoveries in modern science. And finally, number 1, the animal that may hold the deepest mystery of them all. The Pinta Island tortoise. For decades, one tortoise carried the entire fate of his species on his shell. His name was Lonesome George. He lived on Pinta Island in the Galapagos, a volcanic island chain famous for its unique wildlife. But introduced goats destroyed much of the vegetation on the island, leaving little food for the giant tortoises. By the time scientists realized the damage, only one Pinta Island tortoise could be found. Lonesome George became the symbol of extinction. For years, conservationists tried to find a mate for him, hoping to save the species, but none were ever discovered. In 2012, George died at over 100 years old. For many people, that moment marked the end of the Pinta Island tortoise forever. But then, scientists made an unexpected discovery. Genetic testing later revealed that some tortoises on nearby islands carried partial Pinta Island tortoise DNA. Their ancestors may have been moved by sailors long ago. Today, conservationists are running breeding programs to bring those genes back into a new population. In a way, the Pinta Island tortoise may not be completely gone after all. And that's the strange thing about extinction. Sometimes species disappear because humans push them to the edge. Sometimes they vanish into places we cannot easily explore. And sometimes they survive quietly while the world assumes they are gone. The truth is, our planet is still full of mysteries. Animals once declared extinct have been rediscovered before. Entire species thought lost for decades have suddenly reappeared in remote forests, mountains, and rivers. So the next time you hear a story about an extinct animal being spotted somewhere in the wild, remember this. Extinction is often a conclusion based on what we know. But nature still has many places left to hide. And who knows, one of these animals might still be out there. If you enjoyed exploring these mysteries, make sure you subscribe and join us for the next story. Because some of the world's greatest discoveries happen when we think the story is already over.